Before we get into this video, I would like to put out some disclaimers. This video contains heavy trigger warnings with certain topics. Topics such as molestation, emotional and manipulative abuse, self-harm, and more. So please, if you do not feel like you are able to handle these topics and you're not comfortable, I would recommend watching something on my channel that's more lighthearted. This video is going to be scripted solely because there's a lot to cover, and I really don't want to ramble or trail off. Making a video like this has been on the back of my mind for weeks, because it took me a while to understand what these people that I will be talking about have done to me. This video is a story time, an awareness, and also just a rant for my own closure. I will not be naming these people, but I do have screenshots and stuff to prove their, behavior. I do not want anybody, and I mean anybody, attacking these people if you manage to find out who they are. For their privacy, and it's basically the right thing to do, they will just be given nicknames. On the 2nd of January 2021, I left a toxic and exceedingly manipulative Discord server. The people I was very close with and sometimes mutual with decided to desert me after everything they have put me through. Before assumptions start to go through your heads, they didn't physically harm or damage me, in a way. They didn't have to, because these people made my 2020 a living hell for the half of it, and if not 2019 as well. I joined this server in 2019 from a person I call a close friend now. They constantly made me want to hurt myself, and sometimes I did. I suffer with a diagnosed bipolar depression and PTSD, and these people knew, because I was incredibly comfortable with these people around the time. I don't like to bring up the age card, but these people were all in their 20s, and if not mid, and only a little were 19 at most at the time, and probably older now. They're adults. I, however, was a minor, way younger than these people, and of course, all we ever did was play games, Overwatch, crack funny jokes occasionally. I started to get extremely involved, and I joined voice chats every day consistently, and even dedicated my time and my art to some of them. But their views of me switched. They looked at me as a menace to them, and while I do agree, a minor hanging out with a bunch of adults was weird. But my intention was never to be sexual. I was also not the only minor, and it was very obvious who they favorited. And no, it was not me. Before I begin on what they did to me, I want to start with a small story that I'm going to need you guys to remember in the end of this. In 2019, I fell victim to a man who was over the age of 18. At the time, I was 15 years of age. For the story's purpose, we're going to call him Orange. Orange constantly used me for his own disgusting pleasures. If I didn't give him the same energy that he had given me, he'd go into public channels and start saying he was going to harm himself because no girl loved him. I was vulnerable to this, and I did what he wanted and flirted back. Until one of the mods found out, but they didn't really do anything about it. I was stuck in a loop, flirting and being forced to enjoy his company, until he finally got kicked by the moderators. I know what you're all thinking. Wow, they were adults. They got rid of him. For you, Hedgie. No, they didn't. They got rid of him to protect him and his mental health. His mental health, mind you. The mods gave no fucks about me. They removed him so he wouldn't get in trouble. After that, Orange was history and never spoken of again. I wish I left that server that day. But they all manipulated me into thinking they were trying to protect me. They weren't. Not even close. Now let's move on. More manipulation started when someone who I sadly can't remember the name brought up the fact that I could make them lose their jobs. If you ask me, that's a little dramatic. Unless I had something to do with the adults that was illegal, then yes, I could have made their reputations go the other way. But I didn't. I had no plans or intentions to do anything illegal or anything inappropriate. All I simply wanted to do was play games and draw with these people. And that's where it all started. These people took advantage of my kindness. I got countless scoldings for no reason. Some looked down at me and labeled me as delusional. And some, I will not be, again, naming names, went as far as to saying I have issues and use mental health towards me in a conversation to make it look like I was in the wrong. They'd blow tiny things I'd say out of proportion, and if I'd say otherwise, they'd make me see eye to eye with their opinions. If none of you know, I've mentioned it a lot actually. I had and have one of the biggest crushes on Shoto Todoroki from Boku no Hero Academia. Todoroki is 16 years old, a minor like me, and I'm sure we all know, if not some, can agree he is a very attractive character who I love and have loved for years. These people insulted and called me mentally ill for taking a liking to him just because he was a fictional character. One person in particular targeted me. Their pronouns have changed, and I don't want to dead name or misgender anybody. At this moment in time, they are a female. I will be using the pronouns they and she because at this moment, they are a she. This person knows who they are, but your name will be Ari. I never understood why Ari showed such disinterest to me since our relationship was pretty mutual. It started out close, but again, they all changed their views on me. She would constantly pick and insult me. Since they were older than me, they always got away with making me cry, and since crying wasn't enough to fill their joy, I would have mental breakdowns and leave the call. I never received any message of them apologizing properly. It was usually always half-assed, because they were never caught. They never DM'd an apology unless I apologized first, by the way. What did I apologize for? I guess being annoying. At least around the time they all made me feel like I needed to apologize first in order to get an apology back. But other than that, anytime they'd belittle or make me cry, they would take it to their top secret mod chat and talked about me and my behavior. I was, and frankly still am, friends with at least 3 mods who happily told me what they said. Each time ended with me crying and feeling uneasy. Sometimes I would yank my own hairs out and have episodes. Yes, I was being dramatic, but around the time they all put it out to be my fault for being myself and did everything they could to make me stop being myself. Back to Ari who targeted me. They never got punished, sadly. They always got away with hurting my feelings because one of the mods, who was also a female, took their side and put it out to be my fault. They all had each other's backs except for mine. Keep in mind, this woman is 21. Ari refused to let me be myself, and a teenager every time I talked about TikTok, they'd tell me to shut up or they'd mute me. And even go as far as saying that teenage girls on TikTok expose themselves for clout, and I might as well be one of them. I let her slide with that, because if I argued back, the people in the call at the time would have defended her and told me to shut up. I do not have video call proof. I don't record calls. But I do have some screenshots of them taking me, loving a Todoroki TikTok into a deeper meaning, bringing mental health into it, and saying that I need help. While this may look like a joke, it wasn't. She never apologized, and even clarified that it was a joke. I was uncomfortable. I had to figure it out all on my own. The person who is also talking in these screenshots is my friend, the only one who cared to defend me, and who I still talk to this day because he knew how toxic they were, and he finally separated himself from them. You have issues. No, I don't. Obsessions with fictional characters at this level is unhealthy. There's nothing wrong with a teenager liking a male who is fictional and hot. Trust me, I'm well aware. Jail. Literally 2 years ago. Yeah. Liking is one thing, but this is an obsession. No. Yes. I mean, does it really matter that much? I mean, yeah, this is how mental instability starts. People also think not getting enough sleep is unhealthy, and you can disprove that. Nah, a small portion of people require less sleep to function than others. That's fair. Telling someone that's where mental instability starts, I don't think is necessarily the way to approach it either. If you have said that along the lines to my brother, we would be having a lot more serious talk, for example. Okay, but obsessions of any kind aren't healthy, and you supporting it is nothing but harmful. I mean, I went through an anime crush phase like this. I actually found it harder for me to get emotionally involved with anyone that wasn't 2D. But I am no longer addicted. I mean, fair enough, but you're also clearly stating you're outside of it now. Yes, because he realized it was a problem. I mean, it's because I found someone who is very attractive to me now because of personality. I'm not in the hots for hotties anymore. And calling them out in a Discord full of other people they hang out with on a semi-daily basis is the place to talk about it. Another person intervened, but was joking. He clarified he was. but I want everyone to know that Ari wasn't. She said me crushing on a character was a sign of mental illness and a problem that I should seek help with. After this, I listened and stopped talking about Todoroki and kept things to myself. I should have done that from the start. But unfortunately, that's not where it ends. Keep in mind, I get tormented and barked at when I post the most safe and appropriate things. But when moderators find them inappropriate, I get a punishment for it. But when Ari posts something absurd, she gets a simple please delete it or just a calm DM. I'm always publicly put on the spot and have even cried in calls because of them. I felt like they're a robot where they constantly had to reprogram me, always screwing rules into my head and kept me in check. Ari, who despises it when I talk about my fictional crushes, tells me to shut up. Wow, she can go on for hours on end about females from the game of Helltaker and not get told a single thing. Now, I'm going to go off on a different topic. The other minor. They were male. I was older than him by a year or just by a few months. But the gap between us does not matter. We are both minors. But they treated this specific minor with kindness, fairness. Hell, even he got away with saying inappropriate things. Even playfully flirting with one of the adults, Ari. Whether it was a joke or not, if I had done that, I would have gotten a scolding and been told off. This minor in particular, who I will not be naming for his protection, was always nice to me, and sometimes took my side in arguments against the adults. But since the adults pampered and swallowed him half the time, he would too refuse to hear my words. I remember a time he even told me to shut the fuck up, despite me having a mental breakdown. But he apologized and we were good. Why didn't I just defend myself and leave the server? Because these adults made me dependent on them, and made it feel like as if I were to leave, I'd never be welcomed back. I didn't want that ever. I wanted all of us to be happy again. I'd even go out of my way to DM them how stupid and wrong I was, and how they were always right. That made them happy enough to treat me decently. But none of this was ever the minor's fault. It's the adults for not acting like adults and simply talking to me and expressing their distastes instead of putting it into a mod chat and countlessly making me cry and put all their burdens on top of me to make it feel as if I was in the wrong. It goes to show that maybe my age wasn't the only issue. Maybe my gender was. I don't know. They let the male minor go away with almost everything, because to their logic, boys will be boys. So to their logic, a minor playfully flirting with an adult, sending God knows what in the DMs to said adult, is fine as long as they are a male. Playful or not, that is disgusting, and I think you should rethink before you do. And if you're super worried about me because I'm a girl, then I don't know what to say to you. Continuing. 2 years, this had been an ongoing thing for almost 2 years, and the fact that I didn't leave sooner makes me super disappointed in myself. I upheld empty beliefs that these people were trying to make me happy, befriending me, but all they did was abandon me for this reason alone. It was a normal day on the server, and of course nobody was on because they all had real life problems and jobs. I was scrolling on TikTok and found a meme, and I'm super upset with myself still to this day for not thinking what kind of harm it could have caused. I uploaded a TikTok about Armin from Attack on Titan. In this TikTok, it shows where Armin had to wear Historia's outfit to prevent the worst from happening to her, but to him. Again, if the first warning did not make you leave, this second one will. If you are not comfortable with the acts of groping and molestation, please skip a few seconds ahead. I will not play it on screen as I speak, without sound of course, because I don't want any copyrights. The mod saw this and immediately took it down. I didn't know about this. One of my friends who is a mod told me they were at it again, talking about me in their little mod chat. They all said I was making light of molestation and went forward, instead of bringing the matter to me. For once, I'm glad they didn't scold me. I was actually very terrified of what they would have done. I can understand the removal of the content due to some people's traumatic experience with the subject, but here's the thing. They all laughed at dark humor. I've been in calls where they all laughed and made fucked up jokes. Why did their attitude change? Well, I found out why. An old pal of theirs, another mod who was MIA for months, maybe a year, decided to get back on that day specifically. I guess I was just unlucky. Their MIA friend, who decided to come from the dead, messaged them and saying how uncomfortable he was with the post, giving attitude to the mods if they didn't see it to his eye. They listened and finally took it down, still making me out to be a gross person, and then the server's admin got involved and DM'd me. For privacy reasons, these DMs cannot be released, but I can summarize the counter-argument I gave to the admin. Summarizing, they said people have trauma in the server, along those lines. Keep in mind, I couldn't have known. And the meme wasn't making fun of people with trauma. It was just a meme to the people who knew about the anime, which 90% of the server does. Everybody's made some funny jokes about their trauma, so I thought it would be okay to post that meme. I in no way wanted anybody to feel uncomfortable about it. They all bring up the fact that I'm a baby. Yes, their words exactly. I always bring up the fact that there's only 2 minors. That's not a lot. And it's not hard to talk to us individually. I'm not trying to be rude, but the mod team was a bunch of bullshit. It was just friends with power. I apologized countless times and even stayed up at night crying about the fact that my own friends, who I thought were my friends, painted me into a sickening light over a meme that could have been resolved if they spoke to me. I was left in the dark, and even then nobody apologized to me. I had to apologize. And after that, their pal who reported me went MIA again, until one day the admin of the server posted this. At everyone, tomorrow evening around 7:30 most of the mods will be meeting in a voice chat to discuss changes to the rules. All are invited to join and give their input and hear our reasoning behind how and why we are changing the rules. And that's where everything went to shit and sparked something inside these assholes. And despite knowing I'm not the only minor, one of them decided to start picking on me and saying that I am the reason these rules are in place. Yes, I gave attitude in my message, but around this time I was done with their constant bickering and attitude towards me. Nah, NSFW ban is in place because of youngins, and I feel like that's a good thing. Sorry, Hedgie. Excuse you? I just don't personally bring NSFW stuff here, at least in content. I might in my own conversations, but I keep it PG around Hedgie because she's underage. Bruh, why just me? Hi, other minor who will not be named. I don't think Hedgie has done anything wrong at all. Bruh. But I also was just not trying to call Hedgie out, she's just the first that came to mind. But you just did. This person probably caught me at a bad time, but it doesn't excuse the fact that they had to do it publicly and call me out, and make it feel as if I'm the only one responsible, and to no one's surprise, I got scolded. But let's talk about what this particular person gets away with. We will call him Blaze. Blaze, despite being an adult and saying he has morals, constantly saying, "Oh no, NSFW around minors? Disgusting." And if I remember correctly, Blaze, you're one of the people who actually brought NSFW around me. And again, if I remember correctly, you and also Ari tag teamed me and constantly bashed me for liking TikTok. TikTok, of all things, telling me how I'm just like every underage girl on TikTok when I don't even post myself, and you yourself don't even have TikTok. You like to say some random preaching sentences and how you keep NSFW away from minors, but let's not forget about the times you constantly made erotic noises around me, flirted, and saying such gross and uncomfortable jokes around me. And don't go and say, "You never told me to stop. I shouldn't have to." But yes, it's my fault, and I take responsibility for not telling you to stop. But why didn't the other mods stop you? They were there, in the call, listening to you go on about your genitals. And why didn't I just leave? Fuck if I know. I was stupid. But so were you. Don't think I don't remember those DMs you sent me on Snap that you erased and blocked me on. I just figured that out not long ago. Because I wanted to gather proof, but the proof's all gone. Blaze. That hurts, you know. But who cares? Let's review. Remember when you told me that I needed a real man to please me and not little boys? Well, Blaze, consider this. You're not a real man, and I want you to keep me blocked. You fucking pervert. It was time for the meeting, and the day came. It was a fucking disaster. Almost more than 10 people in the call, and we all had to discuss the new rules on the server and why they were being put into place. Again, to no one's surprise, all the rules were set against me. No more OWA bot. If nobody knows what that is, it's a Discord bot that has many purposes. I asked the bot to be put into place. Why? Because 2 moderators kept complaining about how there's little to no bots. I gave them some suggestions and they allowed OWlBot in. I wanted everyone to have fun and be more interactive, but they all decided to get rid of it because some people were uncomfortable. But if people were so uncomfortable, why did I see everyone use it the other day? It's not a big server. Nobody seemed upset, nobody complained, and nobody was obligated to use it. But I guess it's just me. Other rules they implemented. Rule number 1. Respect one another. Treat others how you want to be treated. Rule number 2. No NSFW content. No nudity, no bodily fluids, etc. Rule number 3. Have fun. These rules I can totally agree on. I didn't disagree with any of these rules, but come on. We can all agree that these rules were put up because they were tired of me. Well, I'm tired of you guys too. Tired of the lies you put into these rules. Treat others how you want to be treated, my ass. I was treated like shit. I was hurting. Was everyone else hurting? Maybe, and maybe they were. I don't know. But maybe not for the exact reason I was, because they were treated fairly. Everyone has their dark days, but you guys made mine pitch as black. Sadly, I couldn't record this call as much as I wanted to. I couldn't. I was in a dark state of mind, where I believed every little thing they said to me was true. What hurts even more is that one of them, who I will be calling V, is in politics, and is pretty popular in his area. They were the ones who helped with some of the manipulation by being very formal with me and making me understand how I was wrong. Another was a teacher. His name is Slam. He was a moderator who also manipulated me. He is a teacher. A teacher. Never in my years did I think a teacher would make a child. That child was me, and who is a student at the time and moment, make them want to hurt themselves this badly. They never bothered to comfort me or calm the other mods down when I was being scolded. You should be ashamed of yourself. I feel so bad for any students who have interacted with you, Slam. More into this stupid, meaningless meeting. They all made me speak, and every time I countered their argument, they would say, "It doesn't matter. We are the adults in the situation and you are the child." They're right. I was the child. But meanwhile, the other minor got praised for simply kissing their asses. I tried to defend myself, but I was told that I'm being aggressive. Even during the time where I tried to defend myself against Ari, who constantly ran her mouth, she decided to say the reason she's treated better is because she acts better than me. When I spoke up about it, I got told to be quiet, because my words are nothing but anger, apparently. And of course I listened, muted myself during the whole call, and had a mental breakdown about how these adults treated me like I was their stress joy. Even one of the adults admitting that when they're mad, they usually do it towards me. I had enough of their abuse. I stayed quiet and obeyed them all, even apologizing to them because I thought I was in the wrong and that I was the one who had to be punished. Soon after, one of the mods left. We're gonna call him Yo-Yo. He left for his own childish reasons. He got upset that someone who I'll be calling Ghost decided to counter their arguments and defend me, because they were obviously against me. Yo-Yo didn't like people disobeying him as the heavenly moderator he was. And while Yo-Yo and Ghost were arguing, we all stayed silent and not defend him. Doesn't that feel nice? I couldn't possibly feel that pain, Yo-Yo. I can only imagine. That's enough sass. When Yo-Yo left, almost everybody followed him. Ari, who emotionally abused me, and a girl I will be naming Kelly, who honestly constantly held her hand. Kelly and Ari followed Yo-Yo. They all played video games together and ghosted me and their other friend, who I will be naming Rich. Rich was devastated, and he did too notice their abuse and decided to leave the server. It sucks that it all ended that way, and I felt awful. I felt, and I still feel like everything's my fault, and that I made everyone leave. Until finally, I had enough of crying. It was 2021 now. I had to let them and the server go. The way they treated me just was not right, and I needed to stop dwelling on it so much. And with that, I sent one of them a final message, still around the time I felt like it was my fault for ruining the server. Sometimes I still feel like it is. I apologized and said I will be leaving the server, and their response was that I should learn from this experience and grow strong. This person was also someone who manipulated me. You want me to learn from this experience? I'm sorry, learn from this experience. What experience did you guys give me besides being total assholes to me, constantly making me cry and have suicidal thoughts, and none of you bothered to message me? None of you bothered to come to my aid when I needed you. But when you guys needed me, I'm an asshole for not responding in 1.3 seconds. You all abandoned me and left me in the dark to think about the burdens I was left with. You all refused to talk to me and ghosted me even during the shitty situations you put me in. You all told me that I was the one with the issues and that I needed mental help. Well, guess what? I've been in therapy and I still am in therapy because of you people and your relentless harmful words and actions towards me. You all made me feel like shit. You all even tried to slander me behind my back by putting molestation on my name, putting it into a brighter light. You all made me look like an awful person for simply laughing at a joke that didn't land with you people. I apologize, and I deeply apologize for that TikTok, if it may have offended anyone that had experienced such unfortunate circumstances. I can't believe you guys all said these things. You put these rules up because of me. Let's take a look at their conversation as mods, shall we? This was when the Armin TikTok got removed. Our line, as I recall, was, if you have to ask, it's a no. Admin blank has this in his rules. Don't punish anyone in my opinion, but it should be removed if it's pushing the line and the user reminded. Let's reread that. It should be removed if it's pushing the line and the user reminded. I was never reminded. I wasn't even spoken to. You all brushed me off like I was nothing. That and refused to talk to me after all of it. You guys are supposed to be the mods and the adults in the situation, but you decided to be immature and ignore me even after I was crying and begging for forgiveness. I threw it out there as it's not really a big deal, but it does need to be removed kind of reaction. If it's not really a big deal, why did I get a huge amount of backlash for it? Why did you guys put the blame on me and make me feel like crap? I have to live with it. Live with the fact that I probably hurt someone without being told I did. So NSFW is okay if it's over the clothes and against one party's will? I don't know why you had to be so condescending. Maybe you weren't. Maybe I'm wrong. But to you people, I'm always wrong. We've reached the last point. If any of you happen to stumble upon this video, that being any of my old friends from the server, especially you moderators, I don't want my name in your mouth. I simply just want nothing to do with you guys, and I hope you respect my wishes like I respected yours once upon a time. You guys constantly belittled and looked down and barked at me, saying I have issues that I need to get help. Then here's a proposition. You are all disgusting and are the most immature adults I have ever met. You all made a teenager hurt and cry herself to sleep half the fucking days in 2020, and if not 2019 too. This isn't to make you guys feel bad. Don't even give the excuse. You never told us how you feel, cause that's bullshit. I've openly admitted to you all how traumatized and uneasy I was during our times. You should all be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. I don't want your disgusting apology, especially if it's coming from you guys. I don't want your closure. I want you guys to take your own advice and get fucking help, because what you guys did is not okay, and I think you guys should seek professional help. But before I end this video, I want to say something to you, Kelly. I told everyone who is watching this to remember Orange. Guess what, everyone? This asshole, these assholes, yeah, Kelly and the other mods, they defended Orange, still talked to, befriended, and had contact with Orange because they wanted to protect him from me and the authorities, despite him liking me, a minor. I heard that you guys even played games with him after the day he got kicked from the server for emotionally traumatizing me. Do you still talk to him? Fuck if I know. You guys refused to look at me after the time I tried to gain respect. Kelly, and you know who you are. You should be ashamed of yourself as an adult woman talking to an adult who tried, and if not did, manipulate me, a minor, into an illegal relationship. If anybody needs help in this group, it's you, you manipulative bitch. And the rest of you are just as such. Let's see how that new server holds up. Didn't know I knew about that little secret server you guys got going on? You remind me of those high school chicks who don't want people sitting at their table. You are all bark and no bite. I've said enough. I'm emotionally drained from even writing this. Thank you all who stuck with me and sat here to the end. I really hope you all learned from my mistakes, because I'm still ashamed to this day. But I'm growing. If you're experiencing a toxic relationship in your life, I really do encourage you to please do not do what I did and stay with them, or stay with whatever community you are in that happens to be harming you in any way. Deal with the problem before it affects you on a bigger scale. I want you to be the bigger person and leave it, guys. It will be hard, but it is for the best. Their health and yours. No one should be faced with this type of bullying or harassment or anything online. Stay safe out there, guys.